Hello everyone and welcome back to Dyson Sphere Program, Rise of the Dark Fog. And if you were able to join us in the last episode, we got some of these advanced mining machines and were able to turn an entire planet into our new mega factory, all just to produce one piece of the Dyson Sphere, the Dyson Sphere components. And now with our first Dyson Sphere components out of the way, it's time to head home so that we can get some more things to liberate another star system and exploit its planets for better resources. So a quick little warp over to Edis Pupus back home where we can pick up some stuff, drop in on our home world so that we can gather up some supplies of the military nature, that is. Head over to our battleship planet and grab ourselves just a few of all of these different kind of battleships that we've collected so far. We'll even try to bring a few of the planetary ships with us. You never know. They might try to pick a fight with us, even on the planet. And where is it that we might be going, you ask? Well, after doing some careful consideration of what our next Dyson Sphere project is, we're going to be doing the small carrier rockets. I originally intended to have these built on the home world, but I think an entire planet dedicated to building them separately is probably a good idea. The one bad thing is that we need deuterium fuel rods, and of course deuterium is a tough material to make, as well as a tough material to find, but a gas giant would really help us out in this, as well as some fire ice if I can find it. And it just so happens that within our even close proximity of stars, this Ventura here has its own gas giant. Ventura 1 is a gas planet, and it has plenty of deuterium and hydrogen if we would want to turn that hydrogen into more deuterium. Plus, I think it's really cool. It's like it's got two moons, two planets right next to it. And this one has grating crystals, kimberlite ore, and fire ice if we needed more hydrogen. The other one, it's okay. I mean, it's okay. I'm sorry, little fella, but I'll still liberate that dark fog off of you. Oh, I will. So now that we are loaded for bear and our destination is selected, let's head over there and see how much liberation we can manage. So it's a 9 light year trip, but you know what? Maybe we'll just warp over there in a hurry. And what was seconds for you, just a few minutes for me, here we are on the new planet Venator 3. And so in our typical fashion, we'll just mark all these so that we can find them quickly, deploy all the squadrons, and walk up to them and take them down like the god that we are. And now with all of the ground threat eliminated, it's time to get the space threat and wait for our friend Mr. Darkfog to launch an assault. But we're not waiting for anything, so let's land on this planet, pull out the squadron again, and just eliminate the threat once again. And just like that, another planet liberated. So we can take off all these markers and mark the real threat in the solar system, the Dark Hive. And now with our battery fully charged and our Dark Fog friend not really being too much of a threat anymore, we're here to just take them out in a hurry, I hope. And just like that, another Dark Fog Hive is vanquished and system is liberated. But before we can claim the spoils of our victory on Ventura 3, we're gonna have to head home and gather up some supplies. And as I'm one to never waste a trip back home and saw that we were making a lot of critical photons, I decided it was time to create some more antimatter. So I've got quite a bit of it going on here. We have tons of it stored up here, and I'm sure within a matter of time, we'll have more than we'll ever need. But the reason I did that is because I wanted to start the white science, and to make white science, you need pretty much all of the sciences in antimatter. Yes, lots of antimatter. Just as much antimatter is needed as there is the sciences being made. So we set up a little bit of a tower to handle that situation. So now that we've cleared our inventory a little bit, we're just gonna take some of the essential supplies that we're gonna need to get that planet up and running. I imagine we'll probably have to make a few trips here, but as much as we can carry, I think I might just take a few extra of everything and allow this to probably fill up a lot more. But as they say, with nothing ventured, nothing gained, we're heading off to our new adventure on our new planet. So as I was sitting here, dropping off the last few bits of our supplies that I wanted to drop off on the planets here, I noticed a symbol here that 2 of the power towers have been destroyed, and then saw that Ankaa 1 is under attack. I don't think that that is a very good thing, so let's grab a couple of these and head over there and see if we can lend some assistance to this so-called dark fog threat that's over there taking us out. It does appear that our dark fog friend here has set up camp, but let's just drop in and say hello. Excuse me, sirs, that's incredibly rude. Please stop. Please stop doing that. Okay, so we don't have any of the mega power stations, so we'll just take these out and replace them with just regular Tesla towers. That should take care of our problem. But the other problem we have, you sir, you're in the wrong spot. That's better. It seems as though our defenses here held fine. The sulfuric acid didn't get touched, so I'm not too worried about just this. But I am kind of worried about maybe other seeds in the galaxy heading to other places. So I'd like to take a look for a second and see where they're all at. This one's coming to Anakin, 11 light years away. This one's going to Eta Pupa, no. This one is going to Ventura, but we're going to be working there, so I'm not too worried about that. It does seem as though it's going to take a while for these guys to get there. I mean, 11 light years away, 19 light years away. Yeah, I think we'll be pretty safe to head over and get back to our factory building on Ventura. So back here on Ventura 2, I was looking over my supplies and realized that I totally forgot my artificial suns. So looks like we need to head back home already before we even really get this started. But that's not a bad thing. I would really like to have tons of supplies so that all we have to do is just build. Just blueprint after blueprint building. As long as we prepare ourselves well enough, we'll never have to go back to Eta Pupas again. So when I got back here to the home planet, I realized I only had one of the stars, and crafting these suckers by hand, oh my gosh. No. So I set up, in our typical fashion now, a system to make these, and with everything being the way it is, and honestly, this system is pretty easy, all I really gotta do is come over here and hook up each individual piece to all this stuff, and we'll be making some artificial suns in no time on the easy. Easy mode engaged. So as we sit here and wait for our artificial suns to get made, I figured I'd never waste a trip home and go ahead and tell this to remote demand all of these supplies that we've been making and we're going to be making. But then I realized something. Anakin has only made 4,000 of these components in the entire time of me warping around the galaxy and destroying the dark fog. Something seems amiss. We may have to run there and check out what is going on. Perhaps it's a power issue, or maybe it's even something worse, a production issue. Oh boy, it doesn't seem like a good sign. There are no drones flying around, so yes, it does appear to be a production issue. Oh boy, you know, I did slap this thing together pretty quick. Passato did kind of put this thing down in a hurry, so we have to figure out where exactly is the issue. So we're not getting enough of the frame materials, okay? Why are we not getting enough of those? Well, it's because they're not getting enough of the carbon nanotubes. All right, let's continue. The carbon nanotubes are not getting enough graphene. All right. And the graphene has too much hydrogen, so it can't process. So, all right, what's the best way to get rid of this hydrogen? Well, I can honestly only think of one good way to get rid of it, and that's just to make deuterium and burn that said deuterium off. So we do still have our old blueprint of deuterium that is heavily antiquated and very old and very, very large. Where can we squeeze this? Here? Yeah, it's the goodest. Oh, gotta go handle that. All right, now with our blueprint down, we cut it up into smaller bite-sized chunks. So we've got everything I believe that we need. The deuterium needs the motors and the titanium alloy. When that's all here, then that will produce the blue motors. This will go into the regular motors, and this goes into the regular motors as well. Okay, so we should have everything good to go as long as we just request it. It should be just fine. So let me get this thing kicked off and see if we can get this deuterium processed into something a little more useful. All right, it seems like all the gears and the magnetic coils and the green motors are going, the regular motors are going good. Why aren't our blue motors going? Oh boy, now what? Ah, energetic graphene. Oh boy. Okay, so where is that coming from? Are we making that on this planet? No, because like everything else on every other planet except for our home world, we don't even have enough coal to support this because we're using most of said coal right here to make our proliferation juice. Curse you, Passato. Okay, so to get us by for the temporary, what I've done is I've set these two for a remote supply. That way they can ship off all of their goods to, you know, whatever planet needs them. They've got plenty of warpers and all that stuff, so that's a temporary fix. But we need to go mine it somewhere else and ship it across the galaxy. Here in the Ankaa system, I have quite a bit of coal that I don't think I'm harvesting off of this planet, but there's very little on the other two planets. This one has 800, and I believe the other one is down to 5 because we're harvesting all of it. So I think we need to exploit this one here just to keep stuff in its local system. But at the same time, we don't have those miners set up on the line yet. So what I'd like to do is try to find a planet that has some grading crystals that we can use for, you know, future adventuring. And I believe Ventura here, it was the one that we were most interested in. So we may need to run there, grab a few of those grading crystals, make an advanced mining machine, and then send said crystals back to the home world so that we can manufacture them on our bus line. That seems like a lot of work. Once again, thanks a lot, Passato. I know, Mr. Icarus, we have stooped so low, back to hand mining something just to get enough to actually mine it. I'm sorry, buddy. Okay, and with our miner now done, we're gonna try to set this up to get as many as we can. I think 16 is the most I've seen. I think there's one of them just hanging out here, but yeah, we'll deal with that. This won't be too complicated of a setup, so we'll just set this guy here, and we'll tell it to get all of these grading crystals, load them up with the appropriate amount of drones, demand our fuel and our warpers so that we can warp back and forth. I think one artificial sun should probably handle all this, but we'll always prepare for two. Very few amount of shenanigans later, and boom, grading crystals. All to be supplied to wherever we need it to be. Now I do want to set up a little bit of perimeter defense on this, just in case. You never know. Something could go wrong. And boom, just like that, the space fleet is shipping off its materials as we need it. So let's head home and make some more of these advanced mining machines. And now we have all of the advanced mining machines we could ever want. So let's put a few of those in our pocket. As well as we have tons of artificial suns. So we're also going to put some of those in our pocket and head back to Ventura 2. All right, let's get building. So I've set up an initial ring for our deuterium to kind of supply all the power to this planet. I have all the artificial suns I could ever want, so I'll probably just set a ring around them in this space. I kind of leveled out the area just to kind of give me an idea of where to place these things. So I'm just going to start putting that ring around here pretty quickly. As well as I'm going to go through and try to set up as many of these miners as I possibly can, maximizing each of these nodes. And so that's going to probably take a minute. I will be right back.
A few moments later.
All right, with all of the artificial suns kind of in place and the miners all kind of in their spots to begin, I think it's time to go and harvest that gas giant. We can bring most of the materials probably up here. I'm not too worried about not getting a good supply of it. But if I remember from my past experience with this, oh man, setting these up, it takes forever. First thing you got to do is got to find the equator, because these things can only be built on the equator. There it is. And then pretty much every crossroad of nodes, like the larger ones, that's where it goes. And you just go along clicking it on every node, not making a mistake. Because when you make a mistake, oh my gosh, you have to go all the way back and you have to do the thing, and it's a great time. I'll see you in a minute. All right. That didn't take forever at all. So with all of the orbital collectors in place, now it's time to just head on back to the planet where we're going to start the real factory. Oh yeah. You thought our last factory was big? I don't think so. This one is going to be freaking enormous. There are so many parts that I have to create on this little tiny planet. It'll probably take both planets to make this happen. So in our typical Atto fashion, I've gone ahead and kind of set up exactly what it is that we're making and how we're going to get there. So what we're making here is the small carrier rockets. They're going to need the components, which we'll probably make local. Deuterium, which we'll also probably make local. And quantum chips. So everything here is going to be made on this particular planet, especially since we've improved on our smelting array and our bus needs. So every time I think that we'll probably be running low on power, I'll just add another one of these in line. That's why I did this giant circle here. That way it constantly feeds itself full on these first ones, and I don't know, by the time it gets around, maybe it won't. I can't imagine how many gigawatts we're going to need to run all of this factory. But of course, everything starts with the simple stuff. So lots and lots of smelting needs to be done. We just got to find a big enough spot that we can put all the smelters down first. And of course, you betcha, we're going to use the Giga Chad smelting. I am so glad that we decided to make this blueprint. I'm kind of feeling the spot being right here, kind of right next to this as far as we can get, and then kind of go all the way down into here, all the way up into here. And it'll give us some space too, that if we need extra smelting, we can start putting it right there. So 2 lines of a massive amount of smelting needs. So I kind of want to try to figure out exactly how close to everything I can kind of just put this guy. I don't think he'll fit there or there. That one's a no, definitely not. That's better. So we'll just kind of line these guys up one right after another and do as much Giga Chad smelting as we could possibly get done. On a side note, as you can see, it says that we don't have enough of said supplies, but the thing is something I found out recently is over here in your inventory, you can actually hold on to quite a bit of items in this little extra pocket that you get. I don't know when I unlocked this, but it has been incredibly handy, as you can just load yourself up with 500 of these, and then when you need them, you just pull them out of that extra pocket that you got. It's been incredibly helpful, making sure that I make as minimal trips back and forth as I possibly can to the home world, because let's be honest, warping is fun and it seems real like futuristic, but ugh, man, going there, grabbing a few thousand of an item, and then flying directly back to realize that you forgot another 1,000 of a different item. Not a good time. Not a good time indeed. Now we have all the miners powered up and our basic deuterium setup, which we've modified just a little bit to keep it all in line. Our power needs are not that bad just yet, but we'll be getting there, I'm sure, very soon. I just need to go through here and set all the recipes for all the materials that we're going to need, and I'm sure that this is not enough smelters for everything, but this will be a good start, and we can add on smelters, like I said, on the left side here, as we need. The only smelters that I have set up currently are the diamond smelters. Now, I know we'll need diamonds for a lot of things probably through this build, but I really wanted to get the proliferation up and going first. Coal is gonna be another issue on this planet, but we set up our little remote supply, so I'm not really seeing that it's gonna be too big of a problem, but we really just need to get this thing off and going and make sure that our proliferation is being given out so that we don't waste any of the materials, the precious few materials that we have on this planet. We've also set up our sulfuric acid and our water because we're going to need that for the titanium alloy and I believe the titanium glass. I'm not really sure on the second one, but definitely sure for the titanium alloy. Okay, so our proliferation is all ready. It's all provided to each of these smelters and we're ready to rock. So we've got the diamonds already going ahead of time, but from here we just need to add the drones and let it rip. All these guys that was it. I was holding off on the drones to make sure that we had everything kind of in place. I didn't want things kicking off without us being too ready. All right, we got diamonds, we got iron, magnets, copper, high purity silicon, titanium, and glass all being smelted. How's our power situation look like? Not good. Well, that's an easy fix. Let's try 8 more suns. Oh yeah, man, this is so awesome. The power of the sun, man, that is amazing. All right, so what's next? I think it's time to get going on the mega factory side of things. Now, there is kind of a little bit of a spot that I cannot put things in. It's where most of the materials are, so I'll probably save like this spot here for like a special thing that I have planned. So that leaves us the rest of this planet to just litter with tons of factory pieces. I mean, I don't know. We may fill out this planet. I'll probably have to use even that top line that I'm trying to avoid, but yeah. And as far as proliferation goes, I'm pretty certain that this little tiny setup that we got going, it ain't gonna happen. But I do love the look of all of those little drones going everywhere they're supposed to be going. Oh boy. Now the first set of our factories here seems to be off and running really well. I didn't proliferate any of this, but I may do that in the future. We did use a GigaChad assembler for the gears here, because, you know, it just seemed fitting. So now with a quick check on our deuterium fuel rods, it seems like we're producing quite a few of them. So the first things we need to set up are the processors and probably the graphene. Those will be the two easiest and quickest to set up. So the processors, well, that's not going to be too difficult. We'll use our GigaChad here and we'll plop the first couple for circuit boards and microcrystallines. We can do 2 of each, I think. Maybe we can squeeze this one kind of here. Yeah, perfect. That's how we'll put those down. Now, I kind of had a little bit of an idea as far as what we can do for the golden processors. I'd like to try to use just one logistics tower, and I think I can put the blueprint for our GigaChad assembler 2. It should fit like right here, probably like this, not quite there. So how about there? And then what I'm thinking about doing is just rotating it and sticking this guy like right here somehow. And then I'll probably work out the logistics in between here, and that way we have all of these going to one place. So I'll have to work on this part a bit, doing a little bit of handcrafting, but yeah, I don't really know. It says we have not enough, but guess what? We do. We have more than enough. What's the other thing? Yeah, we got more enough of you too. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your information. even though it's a lie. And there we go, 5,000 golden processors loaded up really fast. All of these manufacturers going into one logistics tower. That shouldn't cause a problem at all. So then we came over here next to our little tiny coal mine here and set up the graphene. One of them was set up a little bit earlier, but this one, yep, it's rocking and rolling and everything seems to be working out just fine. Now we still are importing that energetic graphene, but yeah, this shouldn't be too big of a problem. At least not for a while. I only want a few 100,000 of these parts. just 100,000. And now that we got quite a bit done, we can probably start knocking a few of these items off the list. So all of the smelting is done. So we can just eliminate all of those things. The energetic graphene is complete. Now we've got plenty of the circuit boards and more energetic graphene. All right, so now we're getting to the more complicated items. And I think it's gonna be that we're gonna head on for the steel and that titanium for sure. We might even throw on some of the titanium glass, but we may save that for later. But these two things, they're next. And because we left ourselves so much space here, it shouldn't be too hard just to throw on a couple gigachads. Maybe the steel will go there, and then I think we may have to make a new gigachad or a 3 smelter. I don't think I have made that yet. Oh wait, I did. Yeah. Past Addo, he's trying to redeem himself for being such a bonehead earlier. All right, and now with the titanium down and the steel, we should be pretty much at a point of putting down the main part of the factory. So titanium being its own thing, I kind of just made its own blueprint so that we could quickly just throw down any kind of titanium that we need. Most of the other smelters, they don't really need 3 items or 2 items that I've seen so far. Really, the titanium is the only one that needs it. So now with the titanium and the steel done, now it's on to the carbon nanotubes. So we just did a quick little setup of this and made that, you know, what it is. Now, as we're about halfway through the factory, we're eating up the potential for a lot of gigawatts. So I want to go up here and just activate a few more suns. I mean, it's not like we don't... Wait, what? Hello, sir? Where is our antimatter fuel rods? Are we... Oh, we are having gaps in this, so we haven't got any for a while. What in the world? We should have more than enough antimatter. What is going on in Ida's Poopas? All right, let's hop down here real quick and figure out what's going on with our antimatter fuel rod. Okay, so we're still producing the critical photons. That's not a problem. We have plenty of antimatter here. This all seems full up. Well, this is all full up too. Oh, our logistics is empty. What happened? Why is this not in there? Like, what's going on? Wait, is that? What are those? Those are not fuel rods. Battlefield analysts? When did I put those in there? Did those, what the, how did that happen? When did I put those in that? I don't, I'm super confused. Oh boy. Well, I'm glad it was such a simple fix. I mean, that's ridiculous. I can't believe that. Now I can only imagine how many planets are going to start leeching this resource off of us because, well, it's a good thing we had a bunch saved up. After I was just being so nice to past Addo, he goes and does something as dumb as that. All right, back to Ventura. Ah, yes, that's better. Above 500. That's really all that matters. Okay, so now the next thing to really build would be solar sails and probably the particle things. What were they called again? Ah, yes, the photon combiner advanced. We can build the advanced version of this one because we have the crystals here. So I'm thinking that that's the best one to make on this planet. I've been using quite a few of the alternate recipes for this particular build. And boom, just like that, all of the photon combiners and the solar sails we could ever want. Now the graphene production is getting a little strained, I think, so we may have to throw down some more graphene, but that won't be a problem. All right, so we have the photon combiners and the solar sails completed. What should be next? Probably focus on more of the crystals here. I'm thinking probably these cashmere crystals. Seeing as how we have a lot of the grading crystals here, we should be able to use the alternate recipe of that one as well as the titanium glass. And that's why we brought the water in. I knew we needed that water for something. Stay hydrated, homies. And then we will be using those products to start making the plain filters, and then the quantum chips. That'll be like the kind of last things we build, as well as the components. The components, all these pieces are here, so it's not a big deal. We just have to make the last bit of the material frames. So as I've been building this particular piece of the factory, I've been keeping a weathered eye in the sky, and I believe we have a guest coming in. A seed. They're heading right for us, and they are only 3 AU away. They are getting really, really close. So I'm kind of hoping I can just hurry up and finish this build real quick, and then we'll probably go take him on. That little speck right there, that is our big boy. Look at him trying to set up camp here. Here I come, brother. Setting up camp in my neighborhood? I don't think so. Goodbye, my friend. Okay, now, what were we doing before we were so rudely interrupted? Oh, that's right. Titanium glass and the photon crystals. Let's go do that again. All right, all the titanium glass we could ever want and the crystals at the same time. Very, very good. All right, so that's all set up. We need to go refer back to our plans because I think that we are just about done. All right, so titanium glass, done. Cashmere crystals, done. Man, we are really down to our last few parts here. So plain filters and the quantum chips are the last things to build before we get on to the small carrier rockets. So we just need to find some space to kind of put those down. I still think we got plenty of space on this planet. So the next two things that we're going to need are the plain filters and the quantum chips. And we'll just nestle these guys right up next to the parts that they need the most. Maybe it'll make it a little quicker for those logistics towers to, transport materials back and forth. And they only need 2 items, so we just used our regular old 2-item bus and called it good. Well, we're getting pretty close on our power consumption, and it's getting pretty intense, so I went ahead and added a few more to get us closer to that 2.5 gigawatts of power that we needed. We added that power so that we could get to our last assembly here, which is going to be the small carrier rockets. So I'm going to go ahead and find a place to put that. You remember when I said I was saving a special place for it? Well, that's where we're going to put it, right in the middle of all of these miners, surrounded by its goo. And boom, just like that, using the GigaChat assemblers, we have made quite a few of these, even though we are shipping them off planet. And as you can see here, we have quite a bit of busy bee action going on. It's once we kicked those guys into full gear, it really took off on this planet. All of the drones are moving every which direction. But yeah, we have pretty much covered a good half to maybe 2/3 of this planet in factory. It is a factory planet, and it's not like we're getting all of the resources from this planet. I'm pretty certain we're grabbing some from here, we're grabbing stuff from Ida Poopa. Oh my gosh, it is crazy. Now, I won't do like I did in the past, and I will make sure that these things are running at as close to their efficient state as they possibly can. So yeah, I'm definitely going to make sure that things are looking a little nicer before we leave this planet. I'm sure there's some grading crystals and some other items that need to be gathered from other planets. But while I figure out ways to support this planet to make sure we're making enough of everything that we need, why don't you think about supporting me on Patreon? A link will be in the description, and I would be happy to have any support that you give. Another way is to support the channel is to always leave a comment. I do enjoy the community and responding back to you guys as quickly as possible. Other ways to support is always to go to our Discord and check us out there. The link also will be in the description. But as always, the best way to support is to like and subscribe, as it does help the channel out. Hit the notification bell so you can be alerted of any time any Dyson Sphere or any other content gets uploaded to the page. Hit one of the buttons at the end of the screen to see what else we've played, and don't forget to keep gaming for the love of games. Bye now.